Vehicle track marks, Bull Creek, Austin, Texas.
So these vehicle tracks, along with all other similar vehicle tracks in America, are automatically labeled as ruts, left by the wagons of the first pioneer settlers. So let's see together how much common sense there is behind this hypothesis. So first of all, these tracks, these imprints are on hard rock. This is not mud, this is limestone, as reported by Julie, who took this footage. So the general appearance of the tracks, also as reported by Julian, as you can see yourself, is that as if a couple of vehicles passed by and left these tracks in the soft mud. But this sharply contradicts the entire history taught in schools, because in the past there should have been no vehicles without like some animal or somebody else pulling them, and there are no footsteps of man or an animal. That's why we are told that many wagons were passing repeatedly exactly at the same spot, and that's how gradually they cut these marks in the stone. I'm sorry, but how many were these pioneers? Were they like ants, like millions? And all of them just having absolutely the same size of wagons and riding always on the same road like crazy back and forth to really cut in solid bedrock this type of marks? You really need a whole lot of vehicles passing on them. So first of all, there wouldn't have been that many pioneers altogether to start with. Second of all, so what? They all had exactly the same size of wagons because the tracks are so thin. If your wagon is just 5 or 10 centimeters um, wider or narrower than the wagon of your neighbor, you can't go on the same track. Yeah, it will just make the track blurry and not with such sharp edges as we see on the video. So all the wagons of same size, and how many millions of them actually would have we needed to leave these tracks? Because in modern times, for example, in Sochi, there are roads where modern vehicles, heavy vehicles, pass repeatedly, and they have not formed any marks whatsoever so far. So, and that's like every day many vehicles pass on the same spot on a stone road. And then the animals that were allegedly pulling the wagons of the pioneers, my god, they had the precision of computers. They never stepped an inch away so that they can leave the perfect track. Do you really believe in this? What I mean is, once the tracks are somewhat deep, then the imaginary animals could see and follow them, and the wheels would also tend to stay in them. But what about the initial stages when they were not clearly visible or not visible at all, and when the wagon wheels basically had no reason to always be exactly at the same spot? And then what we have at hand is two pairs of tracks running parallel for some distance and then getting apart without getting mixed in any way. This is not a normal if indeed many thousands, if not millions actually, of wagons allegedly passed here always at the same place and left this track. If indeed that many wagons were passing repeatedly, it would be normal that some of them would turn right and others would turn left at the crossing when the road splits. But we don't see that at all. We always see one of the groups turning left and one turning right. It doesn't look like a multitude of wagons after all. And when I said the road turn left on right, this is actually imaginary road. There is no road as such, you can see. And that by itself poses the question, why would these wagons that allegedly always with digital accuracy followed the same trail and the animals were so concentrated on that, why would they do so? For example, in the cases when we have rock cut roads, it would make sense to follow the road. Animals do that and people do it as well. But what about out here in the stone field? Why thousands, if not millions, would bother even follow any track with precision to the centimeter? Otherwise, the tracks wouldn't be so narrow. So, were these tracks really studied by a specialist ever? Or were they just labeled as wagon routes left by the first pioneers? Just like that on paper without an actual study. Well, that would barely be any surprise or an exception. It would just follow the usual procedure, actually. So, while browsing the internet with the hope to find more information on the tracks, I found really superb jokes. It seems that officially it is implied that actually they were driving their wagons in the river, and that's how they left the ruts. Santa Maria, what kind of cows equipped with technical navigation could, without seeing where the previous tracks are, always pull the carts just exactly at the same spot and never 3 inches on the side, because you need hundreds, if not thousands, of carts to pass exactly at the same spot to begin making such a trail. And it seems I'm not the first one who noticed that there is something fishy in all this story. So Zippy says, initially someone decided that would be a good idea to drive their wagon with everything precious they owned in life down the middle of a creek to start the process of wearing out the limestone so that future generations could just guide their wagon into the ruts and life would be better for everyone. Yeah, that's it. That's the ticket. I fully and absolutely agree. This is the ticket to Dreamland, where, for example, monkeys built megaliths. And that's at night time. They hold their lanterns in their teeth, and all that's outside. They hang on ladders, and the weather is like an average 16 degrees below freezing point, reaching to minus 25 below freezing point. So if the monkeys could build these shiny columns in St. Petersburg and all the other megaliths, and then it magically landed in our reality all the way from dream world, I don't see any problem. Then cows equipped with digital GPS devices, always following the same ruts, forming these tracks, and then everything lands in our reality. It's so simple. So this video material was provided by Julie, a viewer of my channel, and the previous one was about Mahabalipuram, was provided by Donald, who also took part in the Italy expedition. And if you notice also interesting stuff in your area, please take videos and let the world know about them. Some of them I could publish on this channel as well.